like a glass in his cubicle where he writes quote of the day. Every day he changes a quote to a different person. And for a week already he has a quote of the day by me where I said, not every joke is supposed to be funny. And he has it like as Mike. He thought it's the most funniest thing anybody ever said. So anyway, so let's start with today's lecture. So the goal of this presentation today is to talk about how to improve in chess. And I'm going to share some of my personal experiences. And also to analyze some of the games that have been played here at the club. Now you guys have different levels. Some of you are very advanced, some of you weaker, stronger, whatever. So if I have to warn you, some parts of the presentations could be easy for some of you. And feel free to comment. We're also going to record this and put it on YouTube. Hopefully more club members can view it. I know a lot more people wanted to come, but a lot of people are working Wednesday night and stuff like that. Okay, so how do you get better at chess in general?
Practice.
So we had a lecture here by Grandmaster a couple of weeks ago. And I'm not a Grandmaster, I'm a master. I'm somewhere in the middle between club players and Grandmasters, which puts me in a unique position. I'm exposed to communication with Grandmasters quite a bit from lessons and having a lot of friends. And at the same time, I communicate with club players a lot by teaching them or having them as friends, looking at their games. So I'm in a unique situation where I can understand club players' concern and where they coming from and stuff like that. Something that a Grandmaster might not necessarily understand, as a lot of them are just like kids that just became really good as kids and never had to deal with like growth pains of getting stuck at like 1400 level, 1600 level, 1800 level, etc. So one thing that really worked for me is understanding who I am in chess and identifying my strengths and weaknesses. And basically one advice I give to everybody is play to your strengths. Understand what your game is all about and play the positions that are comfortable for you. I think it applies to every level, starting from like a C or D player all the way to the master. And at the same time, work on your weaknesses. So figure out what you're weak at and work at home. But be extremely honest with yourself. So a lot of times in the chess community, you run into a chess player and you say, like, how strong they would be like, I'm like 1800, and you look them up on uschess.org and they're like 1580. It happens all the time, right? So it's very important to be honest with yourself in chess. Like for me personally, I have always felt that I was a strong endgame player and my positional understanding was very good, but I was very weak tactically. So I started pounding on my tactics, doing exercises every single day. And I was inspired by International Master John Bryant. We didn't even talk directly. I just saw that John has been doing 75 puzzles a day for the last like 3 or 4 years. And I remember John from being like 1600 level kid, now he's 2600 player. So it's all about hard work and putting time in. Like another weakness of mine was openings. And I don't have a very good memory. So I built my repertoire in such a way that I don't necessarily play the sharpest lines that top grandmasters play, but I play the lines that are solid and that I would know well. Such, for example, as I've been playing Modern Philidor a lot with black, and everybody like looks at me every time. It's like, oh, he plays this garbage opening. And I do have good results because the opening itself is not so bad, and I know it better than most people. So anytime I play it, pretty much everybody who plays it against me plays it on my territory, which is a nice situation to be in. Now, the difficult thing about chess is that the chess progress is not linear. It's not like you take a book, you read the book, and tomorrow you become a much better player. Unfortunately, sometimes it works in mysterious ways. You study chess and your game does not improve at all for months, years, and it can get really frustrating. But you gotta have faith in the process. And keep in mind that like rating does not always necessarily reflect your true strength. like some of you might know from gambling games such as poker, there is variance. So you might be playing well but losing due to some factors, or playing not so well and having great results. The story I want to share is I've been teaching 2 different private students and approximately teaching them the same way. And one of them improved over 100 points in 2 months. He won every single game he played. And of course, he was very happy with my coaching, and he attributed most of the success to me. And then at the same time, I was teaching another student, and he had 6 losses in a row, and he ended up quitting my lessons, thinking that I was a terrible coach. Now, I taught them approximately the same way. Now, when I looked at their games deeply, actually the guy that lost 6 games in a row was playing very, very strong chess. He was getting really good positions. The guy is like 1400 rated, outplaying a lot of, even outplaying 2000 rated players, and then ultimately blundering every time or giving the game away. While the other guy actually had a lot of really bad positions and just has really good survival skills. Like he's like, in many ways, like a tennis player that stands on the back line and just hits the ball across the net and waits for a mistake. So my point is, rating doesn't always indicate true strength, and there is variance in chess as well. So there are several ways to improve. Like I said already, I mentioned some of the ways. One of the ways I recommend to everybody is to play stronger players. So, but don't go too far ahead. So, meaning, let's say you are a 1600 player, don't go and play GMs. You're gonna lose every single game. But go and play 17 and 1800 players. Challenge yourself, because the growth happens during uncomfortable moments. So, you need to face challenge. You need to face difficulty. That's how you get better at chess. And finally, the most important part of chess improvement is to analyze your own games. Now, don't get me wrong, looking at the games of super grandmasters is useful, but seeing last Magnus Carlsen's game is not as useful for your improvement as analyzing your own games, okay? Because the mistakes that you're making are specifically yours. So how do you analyze your games? So I want to show some of the things that I'm doing, and I want to go over some of the games that were sent to me today. Okay.